The Denver Nuggets are one of my personal favorite teams heading into the 2023 NBA season. I really like the way they're built, and I think they're, in my opinion, the sleeper team to win the NBA championship this year. Getting back all their guys to go alongside of the two-time MVP Nikola Jokic, going for that three-peat, and then you get Jamal Murray back, who was an absolute stud in the bubble. You get Michael Porter Jr. back, who just a year ago averaged 20 points per game on 54% from the field and 45% from three. You bring in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. You bring in Bruce Brown as two really good 3-and-D wings, 3-and-D guards, I guess you could say. DeAndre Jordan's going to be filling a roster spot, and then Ish Smith could get some emergency minutes. But I love this Nuggets squad heading into the year. They did have to give up Monte Morris, but they have Bones Highland, and then they get off Will Barton's contract in the offseason. So this is going to be a big year for the Denver Nuggets. Make sure you stick around till the end of the video as we're going to preview their year. Make sure you hit the like button and leave me a comment down below. Also, make sure to stick around till the end of the video. Like I said, all three things will really help us out in the YouTube algorithm. Now let's go ahead and get started looking at who they added. Their first real 3-and-D two-guard, while they've had Nikola Jokic, has arrived via the form of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, the absolute, well, I'm not going to say absolute, but the very solid role player that is perfect for this Denver Nuggets squad, just with what he brings to the table with his three-point shooting, with his defense. Same could be said for Bruce Brown, who is a really good defender. Maybe not as good of a three-point shooter as KCP, but still, serviceable, and he's going to be a very nice backup for this Nuggets squad. I really like him coming off the bench for them. Christian Brown from Kansas, he's going to be a very welcome addition with his ability to hit the three ball. The backup three spot is kind of up for grabs right now. There's a lot of guys jostling for that spot, jostling for those minutes, but we're going to take a deep dive into that later in the video. Ismail Kamagate coming over from France. He's an interesting option with his very good size and shot blocking ability. Peyton Watson kind of got lost in the shuffle last year for UCLA, but he was a 5-star heading into last season, so he's definitely an interesting option. And then you have DeAndre Jordan, who, like I said, really more of a bench spot for him. Now, taking a look at who they lost this offseason, they do lose Will Barton, who averaged about 15 points per game when he was asked to play kind of that secondary playmaker role for them last year, but he was being paid $15 million a year, so losing him is not the worst thing in the world. Boogie Cousins is gone. He did leave in free agency. Actually, I don't think he has signed with another team yet, but, probably, maybe will, because he's definitely a very serviceable center option. Bryn Forbes is definitely a guy to look for on the Minnesota Timberwolves, a guy that can really get hot in a hurry. Austin Rivers also going over to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then Monte Morris, Mr. Nugget, they do lose him. That kind of stinks because he was a huge fan favorite in Denver. One of the best backup point guards in the league for a long time. Got a chance to be a starter last year, but he is now going to Washington. That's basically all they lost. It was a lot, to be honest. But taking a look at the X-Factors for this upcoming year for the Denver Nuggets, number one is obviously going to be the health of Jamal Murray and of Michael Porter Jr. If both of these guys can get back to where they were before the year, this is going to be, or before their injury, it's going to be a big year for them and for the Denver Nuggets. But, if they can't, it's going to be a little upsetting, honestly, because I'm counting on these guys to have a huge year for the Nuggets, because if they do, this Nuggets team can be so good. If both of these guys get back to their all-star form, I think they will be competing for an NBA championship, probably in the Western Conference Finals, without a doubt. The 3-and-D wings, that's a huge X factor for these guys this year, because you add that depth to the lineup with Bruce Brown, and then the starter. You have a true starting two-guard now. It has been Will Barton, I guess you could say, alongside Michael Porter Jr. there. It's been a little rough at the two spot for the Nuggets. Now they have Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Bruce Brown, so they have the starter and the backup now under locks. So I think that's going to be a huge key for them this season as an X factor. And then Bones Highland, his continued progression and development as a player. Like I said, that was one of the reasons they were so comfortable letting Monte Morris go over to Washington was because of the development of Bones Highland and how good he is becoming. Very good pick in last year's draft for the Nuggets. Really liked that. Down, I think, in the 20s last year, wasn't it? But either way, a really good rookie year for Bones. Now the lineups heading into the season. I think it's going to be Jamal Murray, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic. And if everybody is playing up to the caliber of play that we have seen them, this is going to be a truly special Denver Nuggets team. I mean, this is a team that could potentially take down the Warriors. I am super high on this squad. You got the two-time MVP in Nikola Jokic at center. You got Michael Porter Jr., a guy who just 2 years ago, when he was like 22, averaged 19 a game on 54% shooting from the field and 45% from three. Jamal Murray, who was an absolute demigod in the bubble. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope brings very much needed depth to that lineup and a good three-point shooter and defender at the wing. And then Aaron Gordon, very good defender, and can get his buckets when needed at the power forward spot. It's a very complete lineup in my opinion. And then looking at the bench is very solid too. Bones Highland, I mean, we've talked about that leap that guards take from their rookie campaign to their sophomore campaign. We've talked about that a lot on this channel this summer, and Bones Highland is about to take a huge step this year. And then you got Bruce Brown coming over from the Nets. That's a big-time addition. Like I said, that 3 spot is up for grabs. Christian Brown could be there. Maybe Peyton Watson plays his way into that spot. For now, I gave it to Devon Reed because, you know, he's probably earned some minutes there. Jeff Green, still the backup power forward spot. He's been there. He's done that. He's got a lot of valuable minutes under his belt. And then Zeke Naji has played his way into the backup center role. A reason they were so comfortable in letting Boogie Cousins walk was because of how well Naji has progressed. Now, my expectations for this year for the Denver Nuggets, like I said, I expect them to win another NBA, or not another, but to win at least 2 playoff series. That's my expectation. If they don't get back to the Western Conference Finals, in my opinion, this year was a waste for them. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. being healthy alongside of Nikola Jokic, as long as MPJ doesn't, do stupid stuff and take crazy shots, they should be all right. With the additions of guys like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, with Aaron Gordon coming back after playing that role that he's really good at, with his being that superstar role player where he's really good at just playing his role, and then Bones Highland taking another leap, I expect the Nuggets to be very good this year. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure to the like button and the subscribe button if you did enjoy at any point, because that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back later, and yeah, thanks for watching.